Good evening. This is Renee Hesslink, and I'm the owner of City Center Arts, which is located in downtown Muskegon. We are in the Century Club building, which is 356 West Western Avenue. So stop down, and you're meeting Evelyn tonight, and she is one of our featured artists. And through April 13th or something like that. And so she's going to talk about some of her pieces that she has in the gallery right now. So stop in and see us. This Saturday, March 20th, we have a spring renewal happening in our building because we have some new shops, and City Center Arts is going to be hosting a piece crane folding workshop. So if you're interested in learning how to fold piece cranes and help us reach our goal of meeting 1,000 piece cranes by August 6th, come and join us. And we'll also be giving out cookies from the 490 Bakery. So with that, Evelyn, I'm gonna first have you talk a little bit about yourself before we get into looking at your work. But, you know, just share with us, what does your artist journey look like? Where have you been? When did you get interested in art? Just anything you want to share about the journey that you've taken thus far.
All right. I never took art classes, not past what was required for the first 2 years of high school in the UK. I always had an interest in it and loved coloring things as a kid, then kind of got sick of the lines, so I started making my own, and then kind of brought me to doodling a little bit, passing time, and a major revelation, figuring out that I had some major autistic tendencies, having to do one thing to be able to take in information and retain information. So I have a sketchbook from my college time where each drawing was another lecture, and I had to draw through my lectures to be able to take in the information I needed for my exams and such. So yeah, that kind of kicked me off in the right direction from that point. I figured out that it wasn't so bad, like people really enjoyed what I did, and so sort of a value in it. So I changed from ink drawings to paintings and experimented with different medias and mediums, and found a love for recycling things. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's using whatever is broken or found or anything recycled, because, you know, have that real sort of hippie outlook, you know. Peace, love, and the earth. So yeah, it's what I enjoy.
Good. So thinking about your art, I know many of the pieces that you have in the gallery right now are out of repurposed materials. How do you what inspires you when you see something, and how do you know that, you're going to take that and make something beautiful out of it? Is there a, do you have a secret to that, or how do you do those things?
Well, besides just like having an idea, if I find something, I want to give it a new purpose. I want to make it beautiful, and a lot of it is a lot of cleaning and hard work, especially the shoes. The shoes are a lot of fun, like a lot of fun to do, because those are the things that I really want to tell a story with. So I have two in the gallery right now. I have a flip-flop, which I found in a Walmart. I tried to figure out where sort of that the item would be used, and then give it a story that related to it. So the flip-flop has a beach scene on it that I kind of started painting as a sunset and really enjoyed the thought of it being at a beach. And there's another shoe that's in the gallery right now that has been chewed up by my friend's dog. And a lot of that was just telling the story of how the shoe got there. And I have multiple others that I started and want to give stories to. And that's kind of the main thing, is I want to give something a story or a new purpose. And a lot of things is, well, I could use this at some point, and then I have an idea later that fits with it. Like the first 3 hubcaps I did, they were purely fun. I didn't have any sort of use or idea for them. I just figured them as a set. And then for the 4th one, it was from a different cast, so I couldn't put it into a set. It was all on its own. I was like, you know what, I'll make this one a clock. And then my first idea didn't work out, and it's a lot of trial and error trying to figure out what looks good, and ultimately what the rebirth of the item is. so no secret.
Oh, yeah.
Just a lot of thought and a lot of time.
So how do you end up finding a lot of the items that you work with, that you eventually work with?
Everywhere. So recently people have been giving me stuff like, hey, I saw this, I thought you could use it. And I'm like, oh, okay, more junk for my storage unit. I love that. And like, in my mind, I'm just like, no, I can't, because I know I want it, but then I know that it's going to be a while before I use it. So recently people have been giving me stuff, but a lot of things I will find. There's a lot of things that I really want to be picking up that I can't. A lot of things I see on the side of the road, I'm like, I could use that. So I think it was maybe yesterday I stopped and picked up another pair of shoes that I found. That sat in the back of my truck and will probably be for another good couple of weeks yet. But I know that I will be able to give them a story in a new life, and really enjoy doing that. So a lot of it I do just find on the side of the road or get given, and I don't have to try very hard to get tons of useless things together to give new life. So it's all, I think finding the items is half of the fun of it. It really is. And then I know there's a lot that I use right now that I'm still using from a trash pick in September, going up and picking up trash from a Walmart parking lot. It's the same one as the flip-flop, but yeah, I'm going through bags of that and finding things that I can just reuse, recycle, or repurpose into something else, and it's a lot of fun to do.
I know, I was driving down the road the other day and I saw someone had put a hubcap out on the street, at the end of their driveway, and I thought, oh man, when I come back, if that's still there, I'm going to pick it up and give it to Evelyn. So you got me looking for things for you now too. So
that's sort of like a real heartfelt statement to me, and I said that to a friend of mine after an accident, that I was thinking about going back to the site of the accident and seeing what parts of stuff that had survived the wreckage I could use and make something real sentimental out of. And I was like, you know what, that sounds really creepy. And my friend was like, no, that actually sounds really cute coming from you, considering that is what you love to do. So being told you're looking for stuff from me is like, oh.
Oh, now I'll have to remember
support.
Must have been right around my house. But So another question I have for you is, I know we're all busy and, how much time do you get to spend doing your art these days or any time?
Wow, not very much. Working night shift, I have a different schedule to everyone else, and I have 2 nights off a week. And so I usually work through my nights, those 2 nights, on something or other, whether it's working out plans to do art pieces in the future, or right now with my current situation being so fragile, figuring out how I can pursue that further than just what I can do out of my living situation. But a lot of time that I do have off, I'm figuring out when next I can pursue something larger than just a shoe. Something that I can hold in my hand size, looking at doing bigger things. So a lot of the time I'm taking for it right now is putting into planning things like a project that I originally decided I was going to do for Art Prize last year. Before it got cancelled, I'm figuring out how I can make that happen this year. Now it's back on, and yeah, a lot of things tend to take me a couple solid days to do. I think the shortest thing I did that is hanging is probably 2 to 4 hours of work, but everything else takes significantly longer and a lot more patience, and have to spread it out across a lot of days to be able to do it, because my attention span is not that great. I can maybe do 2 hours on one thing at a time, and then I'm like, okay, that's it, change. So I don't get very much time on things anymore, but when I do, I work more intensely than I've done before, and doing a lot more personal things right now that are a lot more meaningful and heartfelt than what I was doing before. So I wish it could be more, but
Yeah, that's understandable. So you've got a show going on at the City Center Arts right now, and I don't remember how many pieces exactly you have in the show.
loads.
So like when you're preparing to be featured artist like you are during this show, average time spent, what are some of the things that you have to go, above and beyond to put an entire show together like that?
Oh, wow. Thinking about the message I want to get across with the show is the first thing. So with this being one that I wanted to do for the longest time, because I do have such a passion for recycling, cleaning up the earth, and it being such a simple thing that a lot of people don't think about or don't.
Frozen again.
I have in storage I want to be using for this show. So what do I need to go and pull out, and the sort of time frames with work that I have. But the biggest thing is getting everything lined up to meet the deadline. So I have usually between like 10 and 12 new pieces that I want to do, but I know that I can't do all of them, and I stress everybody out I work with my super long list of things to do, which is breaking down each thing, each step of my artwork, and each step of each individual piece I want to put into the show.
She'll be back.
That's the biggest thing, making sure that I can meet the deadline with the purpose I intended the artwork to have, and a list. It's important to figure out how to get that together. And
I've seen your list and they're like, in fact, I think I have a couple of photos of you with your task list written out. So
oh, that was from the last show, wasn't it? That one was really stressful. But I usually end up with maybe 3 or 4 pieces that I know I just will not be able to finish because the time it's taken to get to where I need to be with the other ones has just been so long that I'm like, okay, now I'm really not going to get those ones done. And then it's kind of just figuring out which ones to focus on that are going to pull everything together and so that it flows right, or so that it conveys the message that I want without a great loss of the pieces that I can't finish. So yeah, that list is important.
Sure. So the last question
the way I work.
Yeah, the last question I have for you before we get into taking a look at your pieces, where do you see yourself maybe in 5 years and with your art, and what do you want to accomplish?
I really want to be able to do art prize this year. That would be really awesome for me and would be a major achievement. Because the project that I've been collecting for the longest time, I still don't have enough things collected for it, so I had to change my plans, and it seems really reasonable to be able to do it, and be a big win for me to be able to do that this year, considering the hardships that I've gone through, and being able to come out the other side with something that is going to be so rewarding. All the time that's spent on it, to be able to have it put in and be shown to a great amount of people. So that's kind of like short term. I really want to be able to do that this year. I kind of want to, my big goal with this is I want to be able to take as much recycled things as possible, repurpose things, recycle. I have some projects going on right now where I'm taking plastic bags and making them into new items, and I'd really like to be able to do that more. And I know it's been a big thing in the news right now, being able to donate items made out of those sort of things to homeless communities and people that need them, and that would be pretty much exactly what I want to do. A 1-for-1. I want to be able to sell an item and give one to someone who needs it, whilst helping keep the planet clean and raise awareness for both situations. And that's just like a big dream of mine, and in 5 years I can see getting a start on it, but to be able to get the message out, I really need help. And I guess that's the biggest thing, is being able to get to that point where I can gather support and resources to be able to do what I want with it. So it's not necessarily, or it doesn't necessarily sound like something that goes in connection with art, but art is so much more than just a medium. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of work, but that's ultimately what I want to do, is be able to do my art and sell and save, pretty much raise awareness.
So I'm going to share my screen right now so we can get Evelyn's art pieces up here so you can see, and I'll start from the beginning. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and go through these, and you just want to chat a little bit about each piece?
Sure. Okay, so this is a really heartfelt one. This is one that speaks on so many levels to me right now. When I brought it down, Laura, our director, was so pleased with it, and she turned out to me and said, "You know what, you really needed this piece." And I was like, yeah, this one is one that has resonated so much, especially the past couple of weeks. about breaking free and changing into something new. Because I never really got to have that, find yourself sort of break that people do when they get out of high school, or around that time when people figure out who they are and where they want to go with things. I kind of just jumped into a life that I was uncomfortable and unready for, and was filled with abuse and neglect. So when I came out of that, it was a big breaking free, and it's about becoming someone new, hence the butterfly. And again, it's a recycled thing. It's something that I found. I actually started collecting that chain a long time ago. It was probably about 9 months ago. I collected my first bag of chain after just walking in to Home Depot, I think it was. I was like, you know what? I could really do something with that means something. And I didn't know what it was. And then not long after, I ended up leaving my husband, and that ended up being where it went. And I spent hours collecting chain and having associates in various places, and half of the city I live now, all of the hardware shops know who I am, just because I've been so many times collecting the chain. But it's a piece that really means something to me right now, being able to break free of a situation that I shouldn't have been in. So took a lot of time. Still wasn't dry when it went on the wall. But yes, this was one of the first recycled pieces I did. I remember finding that headband that makes up most of that tentacle there, and I was really concerned about how, like, I don't know if you get that here, where you just see something and you're like, wow, that's just tacky. Like, it doesn't look good, and it's just put together to make someone, like, to give something else to an outfit that shouldn't be there. So I was looking at it, I was like, I'm never gonna wear that. I don't like it. And I was thinking about what I could do with it, and then pulled it apart and made that. And I loved it, absolutely loved it, and put together all of those other ones after starting to collect things, trash that I shouldn't have been collecting. But I was like, I was really enjoying doing that. I think that one I actually did when I was 15, started collecting things for that. And then that was one of my first pieces I really, really liked. Now, it was originally on a black canvas, and I was trying to give it a shine finish, and I was really, really inexperienced in the art world, and I thought putting olive oil on the top would make it shine, and instead it pulled all of the links off the canvas, and I didn't quite realize what was going on.
This learning process.
Yes, very much so. And it was great. Again, that was around the same time. I think that when I finished, maybe when I was 16, not much later. And I I loved that. That was a fun one to do. I decided to go along the lines of an Aboriginal style. It's what I was trying to go for with the dots. And too many of them connected together, and connecting them together kind of ruined it. I didn't know at the time how to get that paint back off the canvas once it was there, so I left it and put it all together. Decided I liked the texture, and that's kind of where my love for texture started, was with that. Yeah, a lot of the older stuff doesn't have very much deep meaning to it. It was more of just something to pass the time. Now, this is the one I was talking about, that was eaten, and that had the story to it. So the little doggo in the top corner there is a pretty good reflection of who ate it. And yeah, it was a much brighter color than that, and I kind of just wanted to bring a story to it. And the color tells a story. It didn't quite fit how I wanted. I thought that would bring together what I wanted more than anything. The bright and the contrast of where it's been eaten, but yeah. This was one that was actually a test for another one that I did. I was trying to see if the honeycomb would link right, and how many times I'd have to go over it, and if that medium that I used to do the drips on top would turn out. And although it looks good in this one, it didn't turn out how I wanted it to. It didn't raise. It didn't. It kind of actually bubbled up, and although like here that looks good, it didn't look good on what I wanted. So I didn't want to waste the canvas, recycling and saving the planet and everything. I was just like, I'll reuse it. And then thought about adding that little guy in the corner. He's actually made out of repurposed copper wire and Sculpey, and the glass on the wings is done with nail polish, which is something that I found online and I did once before that, and I really enjoyed that. And he is held on by clear thread. Glue didn't hold him, so same way I did the butterfly, just held them on with some clear thread. So again, this one has a lot more meaning as well. I don't tend to do many pencil drawings. I don't feel like it's my strong point, but I did do a piece that was actually quite meaningful to me. It was one of the first deeper ones I did after I started working at Amazon, and it was one of hands holding the smile that comes on the side of every box. And it's kind of how I felt during the beginning of the pandemic. Was like we were holding up a lot of we were responsible for a lot of people's happiness, and although that can be quite a good feeling, it was pretty intense. So it was the first time I started to use pencil, really. And I liked how those hands turned out. It wasn't my intention to do those hands in pencil. I was actually going to do them in paint, and then I liked how they turned out. So I tried it again with this hand, and this turned out way better than I thought it would. I had the idea after starting to smoke to deal through my situation recently with leaving my abusive situation. I started to smoke and obviously there's a lot of shame in that for some people. So it becoming something that was depended upon and is kind of just something that at the time I saw kind of classy because of the stigmas around it that my parents had put in place. So I wanted to give it that edge that was kind of had a beauty to it, but it's something that was still really deep and for a lot of people is just a disgusting habit. So something that is actually kind of difficult to talk about. But that's where that one came together. Now this is a friend of mine, and it goes really well with it. After living with friends, leaving my situation, this one came in, and Savannah has been really kind to me and taken me in, and she started working on this after I had started working on the hand. And once we saw it, I was like, this goes so unbelievably well. You have to come and join us at the gallery. And she was like, I'm not sure, I've never done anything before. And she does some fantastic digital art, and it was actually kind of sad that she had never tried anything. So being able to go and say to her that it was so awesome. I wanted it as part of my show. That was really fun for me. Reassuring for her. So it's part of the idea of 7 deadly sins and this one being lost, and all of them are going to be done with cigarettes for the same sort of reason. So this is actually one of my favorites. There's not really any deep meaning to it whatsoever. It was something that I was playing around with a canvas that I'd repurposed. Like the back of this one was covered in crayon. It was supposed to be melted in multiple colors and kind of looked like coral to go with the tentacle further back there. This one, I used the stamp for the first time and didn't really like how it turned out at the start, but then ended up with this kind of abstract look that I really enjoyed. And spent a lot of work breaks on this one. It was kind of relaxing. But there's nothing much past that. These are the hubcaps I was talking about, the first ones. They actually came off my car because I really didn't like them. I thought they were ugly, and there was only 3 of them. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make these into something pretty and what they are, because I really didn't like them. But they took a lot of cleaning and a lot of care to make them what they are. And I kind of had the idea of traveling through space for those. And then after traveling through space, I was like, well, if I just put planets on it, then it's not going to have like the message that I wanted, and had instead decided to put this little space guy on it. And it was one of the first things that I did that was a human figure that I was actually really proud of. So they also light up. What's better than that? This one I kind of felt a little more connection to. I wanted it to be something where there was space in it, not just theme of space. And this is actually a repurposed turntable box. I found it at the Goodwill outlet for like 20 cents or something, and it had the original how to use your turntable instructions. I peeled them out the back, kept them there in my storage unit for another art project, and I kind of had the idea of putting the tags on the top and letting them hang, and letting the wind catch it, so it's a different art piece every time. I relined it and put the upholstery tacks in, which was a giant pain in the butt. I didn't think it would take as long as it did. It actually took me over a year to figure out how to get those tacks in the box, and then really enjoyed how it turned out. I really wanted to convey that sort of holding the planet, and it being something that had that sort of repurposed hint at it. This is the one I was talking about. This is the first one that had a real deep resonance with me with the hands. Those stickers on it are actually what we use to sort the packages into the designated areas. Can't say much more than that due to our confidentiality signings and stuff, but you receive those stickers on every box you get, pretty much, if it's delivered by Amazon, and that's what I deal with. And we pretty much walk home with those all over us, and I started collecting them instead. I had to rewrite the numbers on them and stuff because they came off when I finished it. But I wanted to sort of bring together my job and my artwork and do something to celebrate the people that I work with. Because I work with some awesome people that have been through a lot, and the pandemic really kind of hit us all, no matter who you are, all in different ways. So this one was one that really kind of kicked me into doing a little more than just art for art, and doing it for the meaning. And being able to share a message that is so strong and important. So yeah, it was nice to be able to deliver some happiness, but the burden with that, I guess, is what I'm looking for. This one was actually a competition entry for a skate deck competition on the east side of the state. And this started out as something that I really wanted to do. I used to skate as a kid and I'm trying to get back into it for a long time. And I was like, what will be something that looks really good that I really want to share a message with? And I was like, bees. I love bees. Like, I kind of wanted to do something that shared the beauty of bees instead of them being something mean and unimportant. So I really wanted to be able to show beauty in it. And I actually didn't like how this turned out at the start, and there was a lot of stress involved for me with this. It was right at the time of my downfall, where the relationship started to break, and so getting all those lines and those details together was quite a challenge with that emotional state. But yeah, I really enjoyed being a part of that and being able to see everyone else's artwork with around that. And yeah, I would highly recommend going out to Rochester and seeing them, and it's just an amazing vibe. I always had a thing for sunsets. I always wanted to be able to see something and then paint it, and I never could. So not in the realistic way that I wanted to. So I figured that I could blend colors pretty seamlessly, and I worked with that, and I was like, you know what, I can do something here. And I think I was on the way back from work and I saw the sunset, and I was like, those colors just kind of resonated with me. And that beautiful red color, dude, I saw that and I was like, I have to use it in something that that I can it was something I saw that I really wanted to put into a painting from real life. And I don't know how will I manage to do that, but the sunsets is something I just enjoy doing to relax. And there we go, there's the other one. That one's a bit brighter. One of the first ones I did that was brighter, used more color in one painting than just a small amount of variation on the same color. So, this is another one that I really wanted to talk about. This one is called Metamorphosis, and what you're seeing in the middle of that is the mandala, which is Sanskrit for circle, and it's got a huge spiritual meaning to it. And that part of it being a circle is more about it being part of the universe and unifying everything. So when I first thought about doing a mandala, I really wanted to look into the history and the spiritual side of things, so I wasn't going to offend anybody with doing that style of art I really wanted to do. And when I looked into it, there was a lot more than just, hey, it's a circle with a pretty design. And it actually had a great spiritual significance for me, being able to go, hey, I need to figure out what I believe, and then being able to play around with this. I looked into it and found out that it's supposed to be a way of meditating, relaxing, figuring out your place in the universe. And it's pretty much what I did. I was sat drawing on this Hubcaps, one that I had for a while and couldn't figure out how to use those spokes in it. So when I started doing this, I ended up building it around that, and it all came together fantastically as I was thinking a lot about my situation and how to move forward. The color in that also has meaning. It was all about purity and freedom, and a lot of the emotions that I have been through, going through recently, and that was really awesome to see, because that didn't come out until I went back after finishing it, and I was like, you know what, the color should have meaning too if it's part of an Eastern culture. And when I looked into the color, each color had pretty much said for itself exactly what I wanted it to. So that was a really awesome thing to see in my artwork, even after the fact. Oh, this is another really deep, meaningful one to me, actually. This one I had finished, less than 3 months after it was two and a bit months after I had given birth to my baby girl. And I was kind of really irritated about how people see children as unable, and to a lot of people a hindrance, or something that's kind of associated to a social status. And I didn't want that for my girl. I wanted her to be able to do exactly what she wanted in life and not be shamed for it. Not have someone go, hey, you're a girl, sort of thing. And even at working at Amazon, I had that. I was unloading semis, throwing 50-pound boxes out of the back of a semi, and people would always walk past like, you're doing that? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, why shouldn't I be? I signed on to be throwing 50-pound packages out of the back of a semi. I'm going to do it. So I want to be able to have that freedom in life where she is socially accepted as a woman and is able to do what she wants to do. And I kind of gave her, names have a big thing for me. Like you were calling somebody the meaning of their name over and over again. And I really appreciate my parents for naming me something that is so powerful, being life and grace. So I was like, you know what? I need my baby to have something that has power in her name. And there's a lot of history behind it, because Adelaide was pretty much Queen Victoria's caretaker, and she's seen as one of the most powerful women in history. So Adelaide, being able to cultivate that was something that, to be able to cultivate that sort of power in a woman was something that I really wanted to be able to give to my daughter, that empowerment. So her name means nobility and mercy, and that is something that already she has shown and given to me, and it's what we need as parents. So I wanted to be able to give that to her. So a lot of those lyrics in the background there are all powerful and beautiful lyrics from a hymn book of all things. I got given a ton of them, and I was like, you know what, I'm never going to use these. So I found those really beautiful words, and then, put that with something that means a lot. I loved her, and I struggled through pregnancy a lot, and I was very sick, but being able to empower her is something that I felt really strongly about from the moment I knew she existed. So I tried to convey that, and that's why this one is going to take a lot to part for me.
Very beautiful. I think that is our last one. So I'll stop sharing my screen, and we've got a few people in the audience. Does anyone have any questions for you?
Just have a comment, and just have to say that I'm very impressed with the body of work and that you put forth, and how much effort you put forth in creating life out of discarded objects, or objects that most people would just pass by in the street. It's very inspiring to see all of that put to use in a way that, I would have never thought of. And so going to the gallery and seeing all those things, my favorite being the chain and the butterfly, that really caught my attention when I saw it. And you know, I just couldn't stop looking at it because of how, you know, how much texture there is, and how colorful it is, and the fact that there's so much meaning behind it for you just really adds a whole nother layer to it. So good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. That actually weighs a ton. Like, if you were to lift that canvas, it's heavy. There's weight in the meaning, and there's weight in the finished product.
Okay. Anything else? I know Savannah's on here listening too, so.
Whoa, hey, dude.
So Evelyn, do you have any parting thoughts that you want to share?
I would say, think about what you're using, and
Go eat your burrito, baby.
a lot of the stuff that I actually use is stuff that you wouldn't think of keeping, or usually think that you just throw away. Thinking twice about what you're using and throwing out is important in more than one way. I mean, I know I've snapped at several people like, I'll use that, don't throw it away. So being able to find beauty in broken things is something really important, and I'd really encourage people to think about if something is broken, not just like physically, or like an inanimate broken, but like in a metaphorical way. If something is broken, think about how you can make something beautiful out of that, reuse. I would encourage you to figure out the most feasible ways to make small changes to save the planet and recycle, because that is kind of the message I'm aiming for. Yeah, it's not hard. It just requires some thought, and just thinking twice is really important, especially now. So
Well, good.
yeah.
Well, we thank you so much, and we love having you part of our family in the gallery. So please stop out and see Evelyn's work, along with our 120 pieces that we have up for this entire show. Evelyn, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we will post this out on our YouTube channel, so if anyone wants to share it with others, that would be wonderful. The gallery is open Wednesday through Friday from 11 until 5, and then Saturday on 10 to 4, and Sunday from noon to 3. Those are our winter hours, so stop by anytime. We'd love to chat with you and show you around. So with that, we'll close and let everyone get on to the rest of their evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.